Okay folks, it is time for a culinary adventure because this is the first time I am cooking with elk. And if you're anything like me, you're probably asking, what does elk taste like? Well, stick around because we're gonna transform this into gourmet elk patty melts step by step. Hey everyone, welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead, where on my channel I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. Today is Tuesday, so this is an edition of Tasty Tuesday, where today we're preparing something completely new and exciting, the Elk Patty Melt. This is my first time cooking with elk, and I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing how this higher quality protein tastes. But more than that, I'm excited to explore the nutritional benefits that elk offers. And we're gonna be pairing that with some of our homemade Kamut wheat bread, some sweet caramelized onions, some melty cheese, and some crispy sweet potato fries from freeze dry that we're gonna be dipping into a yummy blue cheese dressing / dip. It's going to be a flavor explosion and a nutritional upgrade. So let's get cooking. We are going to be using my new go-to bread machine bread, the Kamut wheatberry bread. And this bread is so good and so good for you. It has such good flavor and texture, nothing like the store-bought wheat bread. With its natural buttery flavor, I think it's really going to be a perfect pair in this patty melt. And let's talk about this beautiful elk. It's actually an elk and beef mix from Force of Nature. I sourced it from Azure Standard in my March order. And beyond just taste curiosity, I wanted to try elk because it's known to be a nutritional powerhouse. There is a risk that this might have a slight gamey flavor to it, but since it's not wild caught elk, which you cannot purchase commercially, and since it's mixed with some high quality beef, the risk should be lower. This is pasture raised, grass fed, 25 grams of protein and 200 calories per 4-ounce serving. So we should be able to get 4 patties out of this. And we're gonna be keeping these seasonings really simple on here because I really wanna let the flavor of the protein shine through. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some bread buttered. I'm gonna start with enough just for 2 sandwiches, and I'm gonna butter just one side of each slice of bread, the side that will be down in the pan. I'm just doing a thin layer of butter on here. This is just to help get it nice and crispy on the outside. As the last step in making these elk patty melts. This bread is so good, you guys. I am absolutely loving it. It's really hearty and absolutely delicious. It does not taste like wheat bread, but it has all the benefits. And with our beautiful bread buttered and prepped and ready to go, I'm gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna get that meat seasoned. I'm just gonna put this into a bowl for now. I don't know if it has an easy open, looks like it. I might not need my scissors. Oh, perfect. It is an easy open package. And we're just gonna dump that in here. Set this aside. My hands are nice and clean, and I'm just gonna add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Again, I wanna keep the seasonings minimal because I wanna know if I like the flavor of elk. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to have a much deeper, richer, more complex flavor than just ground beef. So I think this is going to be a really filling meal with a lot of flavor. So let's just get this mixed through, and then I'm going to divide this into 4 portions. Let's see how that smells. It definitely doesn't smell like ground beef, but it doesn't have like a huge aroma to it either. So let's just get this portioned out. I'm just gonna try to do 4 equal portions. And then we'll make these into some patties. The bread is so filling that I'm fine with leaving the patties a little bit thin, and they're gonna cook a lot quicker that way too. I hope I like the taste of this. I absolutely loved the taste of the venison breakfast sausage that I purchased that I didn't use as breakfast sausage. I use it as dinner meat, and it was so good. I cannot wait to order that again. I think that's going to be excellent grilled in burgers, and I'm assuming that this will be too. I'm trying to make them stretch out to about the size of the bread. So I think we're good there. It's bigger than the palm, almost the size of the hand. And we now have 4 patties ready to go, and we're gonna move on to the onions. I'm just gonna get my hands washed. I like onions in a patty melt to be sliced pretty thin, so that is what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna cut both ends off, remove the paper, and just get 1 medium to large size onion sliced into half rings. And I'm gonna cut across the natural grooves in here. I think that's just gonna be a nice longer strip of onion, and it will be nice and thin. If I were to cut it on the ridges, that would kind of be my guide, and they wouldn't be quite as thin as I wanted them. My knife is very sharp. I just sharpened it on my whetstone, so it's very sharp. And I do have my wet paper towel here, Jan, so thank you again very much for that trick. I think what happens is the chemicals that are released when you cut into the onion are just absorbed into the water in the wet paper towel, because I'm not crying. My eyes are not even watering. They are starting to tingle just a little bit, but it's not even that bothersome. And with our onion sliced, we can go ahead and get the heat turned on the pan. I'm gonna go for about a medium high. And we're gonna need some butter. So I got a new block here. And I'm gonna estimate that at about 2 tablespoons. What I normally do, let me wipe off my knife. What I normally do is cut this double block in half, and then it can go onto my butter dish, which I almost used all that was on there just now. So that's what the rest of this will get used for. And I'm just gonna estimate it about 2 tablespoons. And if we need more, we need more. I'm gonna set those onions aside just for a minute because I wanna get started on those sweet potato fries. Now, I really need to thank a viewer for that. I had mentioned when I freeze-dried the sweet potatoes that I tried to get them back to crispy fry from a freeze-dry state, and they were good. I mean, they tasted good after I rehydrated them and then cooked them, but they were still kind of wet and bendy. They definitely did not crisp up. And the recommendation was, instead of soaking them, just spritz them. So I did try that about a week or so ago, and oh my goodness, they came out great. So we're gonna try to replicate that again here tonight. So we are starting with some completely dry, freeze-dried sweet potato fries. I showed how to do this on a Freeze Dry Friday video. And this is all that's left, by the way, because these are amazing. So I will probably end up doing more of these. There's just going to be 2 of us for dinner, so I think this will be plenty. And our butter is over here melted, so I'm going to go ahead and get those onions scooped in. Because we want to get those cooking to caramelize. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat down on the burner here to a medium low. We don't want this to happen too quickly. We want the flavor to really develop in here so these get nice and sweet. That should be good. So now I've got a bottle of just plain water here, and I am just gonna spritz these. My bottle likes to be squeezed when I spritz. Here we go. So they are barely wet, but wet enough that some of this water is going to absorb. And now I'll flip them over. I'm gonna hit them again. I just want to avoid water pooling on the bottom of the pan and having these pick up too much water and get waterlogged and soggy. So I'm just looking for any dry spots that need to be spritzed. And once I feel like they've got a pretty good coat of light water all over them, I'm just gonna let them sit. And then we'll spritz them one more time before these onions are done. So we're not really accumulating any water on the bottom of this pan. These sweet potato fries are soaking it up. Again, I'm right here, I'm looking just to make sure that I'm not seeing any fries that are completely dry. And I think this one has a little dryness on the end. I think we're good there. So we're gonna set this aside and we're gonna focus on the onions. These are already starting to get some really nice color on them. This is not gonna take too long. This is gonna take maybe 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, depending on how high you have the heat on your burner. And I love using cast iron for things like this because it heats everywhere evenly and it holds the heat as well. You've got a nice layer of fat down here with this butter. That was plenty of butter for one onion. And I'm gonna go ahead and get these seasoned with just a little salt and pepper as well. But you can see the color on here is already looking great. Let's do a little bit of salt. Maybe, that's probably half a teaspoon. And we'll do about the same amount of pepper. Get that nice and mixed through. This comes together just so quickly. But we don't want to rush it. You definitely want the depth of flavor from the caramelization process. So you don't want to rush this step. You want it to happen gradual. So I'm just going to finish up with these onions real quick, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to set them aside and move on to the next step. The onions are coming along nicely, so I'm gonna go ahead and re-spritz my fries. We want them to be fully rehydrated, just not soggy. So one more spritz, turn them. I can feel that they're getting softer. This works perfect, so thank you to the viewer who suggested I do this. Spritzing is not something that I've been accustomed to with freeze-dried food, but this is working out great. Okay, now we need to get some cheese sliced down because everything's happening pretty quickly. This is an easy and delicious meal to throw together. I'm gonna be using some Colby Jack for this because that is the cheese that I have available in my refrigerator, and I like to use what I have available. And then I just have a cheese slicer here, and this is gonna allow me to get some pretty thin slices. Now this is a softer cheese, so If I'd put this in the freezer for maybe 10 minutes, it'd probably cut a lot easier, but we're gonna make do. So we're getting some nice thin cuts here. And I'll probably do, based on the size of the patties, I'll probably do 4 thin slices per burger. And I gotta keep these onions going. Those are looking great. So we're just gonna whip through some slices. If you want your slices to come out pretty, then you definitely are gonna want to get your cheese a little bit harder, or use a harder cheese to begin with. I was planning on using cheddar for this, but we're out of cheddar. I think we almost have enough here. I like to make do in my kitchen. I don't like to have to run to the grocery store to get a special ingredient. I think it's a waste of gas. I think it's a waste of time, especially if you've got something that will work. All right, we will get that back in the refrigerator here soon. And we are ready to take these onions off. So I've got a bowl here that has a lid. This is a metal bowl, so it's actually gonna hold some of the heat. So these are not gonna get cold. Oh, they smell incredible. So good. So I can go ahead and set these aside, and now we're gonna cook the meat. Before I throw these on the hot steamy pan, I'm gonna spritz my fries another time, flip them, and then spritz them one more time. I think these are almost perfect. This is like a fine mist bottle, so it's not a huge amount of water coming out. All right, let's get these elk patties into the pan. See just how much smoke is coming off here, even though this is on a medium low. And now we're gonna get these fried up. This is gonna go quick. Didn't drop exactly where I wanted it to, so move it over and drop another. We're gonna cook these to about 160 degrees internal temp. Now this is so thin, I'm not gonna be able to temp these properly, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on them and treat them about the same way I would a burger. You definitely want them nicely browned. While these patties are sizzling away, let's talk a little bit more about why elk is such a good choice. This elk, at least this elk, which is from Force of Nature, it's pasture raised, so they actually forage their natural diet. This often means that they're not fed the same grain that cattle are fed, and that makes a big difference. It leads to healthier meat with a better nutritional profile. Compared to beef, elk is generally lower in calories and fat, and it packs more protein, more iron, and more vitamin Bs. So right off the bat, we're starting with a meat that's leaner and more nutrient dense than your average burger. So this is definitely a better choice. I'm gonna go ahead and get these flipped. These are cooking quick, and they are lean. It does have beef in here. I don't know what the ratio is, but that's gonna help introduce a little bit of fat in here, probably to help make these a little more delicious. All right, we're gonna give the burgers a couple minutes on that side, but I am gonna go ahead and put the cheese over the top of these. This looks so good. And I think that that was a perfect amount of cheese. Now you could cover this, you could use like a splash guard, a grease splash guard to cover this if you want the cheese to melt faster. But this is already starting to melt, and we do need a few more minutes on here, so I think it's gonna be fine without covering it. These are coming along so good. They smell really good. Now these are shrinking, so we're not gonna get a full spread on our bread, but we could do 2 burgers on one sandwich. We'll see. These actually have puffed up a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can grab a temp and see where we're at. Just gonna go right into the middle without going all the way through. We're just over 140 degrees, so this has a little bit more to go. I'm gonna turn the heat down because they are getting pretty browned, I'm sure, and we wanna make certain that we're not gonna burn them before they're ready to come off. All right, these are done. I'm gonna pull them off the heat and just set them aside for a minute. They're gonna go right back in this pan. We definitely have some cheese overflow melted on the bottom here. And now I'm gonna put the pan onto a low, and we're gonna get our bread in. So I don't know if I can get all 4 pieces in here at once, but let's see. I'm doing this butter side down. No, we're just gonna do 2. We'll start with 2. Because that's all we can manage. And then we've got our onions. So I am going to put a patty. I think I'm gonna do 2 patties on one. That's gonna be a lot to manage, but we're gonna go for it. I'll just cut it right down the middle between the 2 elk burgers. And now we're gonna lay on some of these caramelized onions. Oh, so good. Amazing. So good. There's just a little bit left, and I will definitely snack on that later. And now I'm gonna put the second layer of bread on top, butter side up. And I'm gonna try to smush these down a little bit just to get everything melded together. And in just a minute, we'll get these flipped. Definitely gonna need a pot holder to hold my pan steady. I wanna take a look and make sure that we're not getting too brown. Oh, that bread looks fantastic. It looks good. So we've got another minute or so that we can do on this side before we get them flipped. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip these. Oh, that looks fantastic. Let me let you see that close up. I am telling you, this bread is incredible. Just look at that color on there. All right. That looks so yummy. So this is actually gonna make 4 sandwiches. We're just gonna cut them smaller than anticipated, but they're still gonna be just as filling. If somebody wants more than one later, they can have another one. So I'm just going to let that go here for a couple minutes till the bottom bread looks just as golden delicious as this top bread, and then we'll set this aside and we'll move on to the fries. These look great, and we can go ahead and get them pulled out now. We're just gonna set them aside for a minute. These fries do not take long to cook. Wow, yum. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it smells so good. All right, here's our fries. They have had all their spritzing, they are flexible again, but they don't feel like a wet sponge. So I think these are gonna work out just fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to add in some olive oil into the pan, and this is olive oil that I infused with chive stems, and when I took the chive stems out, I actually put I actually put the chive blossoms in. I'm just leaving the chive blossom in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that drizzled on the pan. Not only is it gonna help get the fries crisped up, but it's also gonna help with a little bit of flavor. And I wanna try to get these into as best as I can into a single layer. They can be a little challenging to flip without burning, so the stove is on low right now because I don't want them to overcook. And they do have to be flipped a couple times because you want to try to crisp up all sides. And I'm going to be pouring a little bit of that oil over the top of these. Let me move that piece of bread out of the way. I'm only going to cook as many as I can fit comfortably in the pan because I don't want these to burn. And then I'll just do a second round with whatever's left. All right, that looks good to me. I'm just going to focus on this. Let's get that drizzle of chive-infused olive oil over the top. Can you hear that sizzle? Oh, these are already crisping up. They're beautiful. They are going to be so good. Now it doesn't help that I have some melted cheese in the bottom of this pan, but I really did want to make this a one skillet meal so I don't have a bunch of pans to wash when we're done. Now I have not tried them yet in the air fryer after spritzing them, so that'll be another experiment. But the pan fry works great. So I'm just going to put those on a plate as they're ready. Nice crispy fry. This one too. Yep, they are all crisping up. A little bit of oil on the new fries in here. This is absolutely delicious. If you grow chives, you should definitely try this. All right, I think the rest of these fries are ready to come out. And these other ones will cook up just as quickly. Get them spread out a little bit. These are already crisping up. Now there is a bunch of cheese, as I mentioned, stuck to the bottom of this pan. So as soon as I'm done cooking, I am gonna blast the heat onto high in here, add some water, and just deglaze the pan with a metal spatula to get all of that up without having to use soap and a scrub brush on this pan, which would take off the nice seasoning that I have on it. Really do want to thank the viewer who suggested spritzing these because this is what I had envisioned when I freeze-dried them. So thank you so much. All right, I'm going to turn the heat off. We are good on fries. Can you see how delicious those look? They look amazing. I can't wait to try those again. All right, let's get the patty melts cut down and then we'll get plated up and do a taste test. Here we have it, 2 or actually 4 delicious patty melts using elk and caramelized onions and a side of previously freeze-dried sweet potato fries. So I'm gonna try to cut right between these 2 burgers that are on this bread. Let's take a look. Oh, that looks amazing. Look at that. The caramelized onions have soaked into the bottom piece of bread. That looks so good. I'll leave this one intact for now. So let me get plated up with 1 sandwich and some sweet potato fries so we can give this a try. Here we go. That's the deliciousness. So I've got some of the sweet potato fries, one burger on a full piece of bread, and then some Toby's blue cheese dressing to dip the fries in. So let's answer the question, elk tastes like what? Let's try it. Okay, I don't know. I didn't get any elk. There was a lot of bread, so I'm gonna have to do another bite. Darn it. But just this toasted bread with those caramelized onions, lovely, so good. I'm trying to figure out where I can go to actually get a taste because there's a lot of bread here. It does not taste gamey at all. It tastes lovely. It does have a deeper flavor than regular ground beef. I've got all the dogs around me. They can smell it too. This is delicious, and you can see how lean that is. Oh, just delicious. That is amazing. That is so good. More nutrition than ground beef as well. So it definitely has a different look than ground beef does. This is insanely good. And this bread is amazing. Let's give these fries a try. So let's start with the browned one first. Give it a little dip. There's a crunch. These are amazing. They're just amazing. I'll try one without the blue cheese, just so we can get the full effect of the flavor. They're good. They're really good. So there you have it. Freeze-dried French fries, rehydrated. So good. I wish I could have you over for a sandwich. Because I'm absolutely loving this. It's delicious. So if you haven't tried elk before and you're looking to get a higher quality protein in your diet, as well as some additional B vitamins and antioxidants, I suggest giving this a try. And I sourced this from Azure. It is a Force of Nature brand. You could buy directly from Force of Nature. They do charge shipping though. So does Azure, but the shipping for Force of Nature, from what I saw on their website, is more. I definitely encourage you to give this a try. And you know what? If you don't want to do it with elk, this would be good with beef too. An easy, no fuss patty melt. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Tasty Tuesday. My name is Kelly. You're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.